Hello, Sugar-Free Squad 43 family, and welcome to day 18 of our fasting and feasting journey through the 40-day sugar fast by Wendy Speak. I am here with day 18's inspirational post. Day 18 is stumbling blocks and dynamite. Our scripture today comes from Matthew chapter 5, verses 29 through 30. I am reading it from the Amplified version of the Bible, and it reads, "If your right eye makes you stumble and leads you to sin, tear it out and throw it away." That is, remove yourself from the source of temptation. That's basically what that line is saying. Not literally cut your eye out, but to bring the emphasis on the seriousness of anything that would lead us to sin. It's just that serious that I'd rather lose whatever part of my body would lead me into sin versus getting into the sin, because it would be worse to get into the sin and not repent of it, and that be your detriment. So that is remove yourself from the source of temptation. So get away from it. Move away from the temptation. For it is better for you, this is what I was saying, for you to lose one of the parts of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. Goes on to say, verse 30, if your right hand makes you stumble and leads you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. Again, that is remove yourself from the source of temptation. For it is better for you, and he repeats this same thing again, better for you to lose one part of your body than your whole body to go to hell. So the emphasis is sin is just that serious, and it's not to be played with, and for us not to lean into that temptation or jump into that temptation. Wendy starts out reminding us that we are nearly halfway through our journey, and there's still much more to be gained. So we're about 2 days maybe from the halfway mark, and she says that there's still much more to be gained, and I want us to hold that dear to heart. And I say that because oftentimes we start out strong, but our finish isn't so faithful. And what I found with my life, I'm just sharing from what I'm gleaning, my gleanings. I'm not saying that this is your story, but sometimes it's in the middle where we fall off, in the middle where we're like, I've done enough. In the middle where we're looking back from where we started to, and then we're looking ahead to where we're going. And sometimes the middle is motivation for some people, but then sometimes the middle gets a little messy, if we're honest, and we're like, we've done enough. This is better than what I thought I was going to do, and then that's just it. I want us to be encouraged and use that line that there is still much more to be gained in the remaining 23 more days that we have left of this journey. There's much more to be gained. Again, this is so much bigger than sugar and us giving up sugar. The goal of this fast is not for us to hate sugar, but to expose us to the thing or the things that we find ourselves depending on more than God. And we've made it clear all throughout that sugar may not be your thing, but whatever that thing or those things are that we find ourselves depending on more than God, this journey should be transforming us, renewing us in our mind, transforming us in our heart and in us, and we should find ourselves back at the feet of the Father. Yesterday in our prayer nudge, that was one of the things that came up, or was it the day before, about there's no failure at the Father's feet. There's no failure at the Father's feet, and that the Father has been calling us back to his feet. bringing us back to his feet, and that there's a revival of prayer, a revival of prayer coming forth. So there's no failure at his feet. And so what we have found in this journey, as we're fasting and feasting, though we're turning down some things, we're turning to the feet of God. We're returning to the feet of God where there is no failure. She goes on to say, anything. If there is anything in your life that is causing you to stumble in your journey to be with God and be like God, today is the day that you stop tripping over it. I got up this morning and I had put my backpack beside my bed, right there as I get out of the bed, and I get up a couple of times during the night to go to the restroom, and got up and I tripped over. It was dark in the room. I didn't cut no lights on, but the bag was there. I forgot that the bag was there. The first time I got up, I tripped over the bag. When I got up the second time, I moved the bag because I remembered that it was there the last time and that I tripped over it, and I didn't like how I felt when I tripped over it. So I removed the book bag so that I wouldn't keep tripping over the same thing now that I was made aware that it was there. If you get what I'm saying. The same thing with a stumbling block. Once we're made aware that it's there, we don't want to keep tripping up over it. Oh, it's there. We don't want to make it normal. Okay, well, I'll just do a workaround and I'll just fix it and let it go this way. That's like trying to function in dysfunction and making dysfunction your thing, normalizing dysfunction. It's like, say something breaks in your house or something, and instead of you going to get that thing fixed because you're like, well, I don't have the money this time, I'm not gonna get it fixed, you keep doing workarounds to work around it and trying to function in dysfunction. And that's what I'm saying about the stumbling blocks. Don't let that be a dysfunction that you normalize and you try to function with the dysfunction. Oh, it's not gonna hurt me. I know it's there. No, let's do something about it. Let's move it out of the way. We're not gonna keep tripping over the book bag, Shantae. It's as simple as moving it to the other side of the room so it's not in your walking path. That makes sense. So anything that's a stumbling block that you find, again, that is stumbling, causes us to stumble in our journey to be with God. Anything that causes us to stumble with being with God, I don't care what it is. If it's too much TV, and I find myself waking up and I watch TV all day long and I spend no time with God, that's a stumbling block. It's become a stumbling block for me because it pulls me away from spending time with God, because the more I spend time with him, the more I find out who I am and can be like him. So we want to stop tripping over it. Anything. It could be sugar, it could be, you fill in whatever it is. She says, not all stumbling blocks are idols. Some things simply trip us up because we like them a little too much and our attention is pulled off course. Same thing. Goes back to the TV is the big first example that came to my head. It could be too much. It's not that it's an idol. It's not that something is wrong with watching TV, but anything, if it becomes so much that it begins to replace me and my private time with God, it begins to replace my personal time with God, then it becomes a problem. Then it has the potential to become a stumbling block. It has the potential to become an idol, and I have to make sure I cut it off and refuse to make anything an idol or let anybody make me an idol. We talked about that the other day. So whatever it is. And she mentioned something about healthy boundaries. Again, we've been talking about that per se. Like, there's nothing wrong with some of the things that we do. It becomes an issue when we begin to exalt those things above God, or we begin to forsake our time with God, in essence, to spend time in those things. So having healthy boundaries. There's nothing wrong with my phone. There's nothing wrong with me coming on and sharing inspirational posts with all of us. But at the same time, we want to have some healthy boundaries. If by chance my fast started turning to my focus is on just what you gonna get on there and post, what you gonna get on there and say, I'm gonna tell y'all now, I'll shut it down in a minute and be like, nah, because that's not what my journey is about. If I have something to say, or if I don't have something to say, I don't want my focus for my journey to be on making sure I get on here and have something to say to you all. I had a lot of stuff going on yesterday, and I couldn't get around to do my video, and my mind was just like, oh, you gotta do it, and they're gonna be expecting it from you, and I was like, I just can't find the time to do the video today. And so I had to calm myself and tell myself, it's okay if you don't get the video today. Just make sure you get up early in the morning, get the video done, get it posted, and you be back on course today. You know what your schedule looked like yesterday. Don't let that throw you off, and don't make your fasting and feasting all about getting on there and posting. Healthy boundaries. Same thing with your phone. There's nothing wrong with having a phone. But the healthy boundaries. When my phone takes up all of my time, when my phone stops me from being present, when my head is always in my phone and nothing more, nothing else, then I need some healthy boundaries. Maybe set a couple of hours where my phone is not in my hand. Maybe set a couple of hours, just put some healthy boundaries in place. I'm not going to ramble on about that. While not everything that causes us to stumble is an idol, idols can bring us down faster than anything else. And idols has come up the last couple of days. We don't have to go into it anymore. We've been journeying through it for a couple of days, but idols will bring us down. And I'll say this and I'll leave it alone. We have to make sure that we're extra careful that we are not making anything or anyone an idol, and that we refuse to let anybody make an idol out of us. She said there was a question that she would ask herself when it came to recognizing idols in her life. She said she would answer this one simple question: would taking away blank devastate me? So I was like, oh, that's good. Would taking away my phone devastate me? And not just asking the question just to say, oh, I asked myself the question, but honestly answering it. Would taking away my phone devastate me? I ain't gonna say that it would devastate me, but I probably would be a little disturbed. I probably would be looking around like I'm used to having it in my hand. But even that becomes an issue. You can't even focus because you're looking for your phone. Would taking away control, would taking away control devastate me? I'm used to leading stuff. I'm used to doing this at church. I'm used to doing that at church. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. I'm used to being the go-to person on my job, or I'm used to being the one in the family that everybody runs to. Would taking that control away from me, or that leadership or feeling needed away from me, devastate me? And she says to not just ask the question, but to honestly answer it. And if she says here, if the answer is no, I could not do that without extreme emotional stress. She says, then I know that I would have discovered an idol, a massive blockade standing between me and God. She said, consider your hobbies, the things you spend your time and money doing. While there is nothing inherently wrong with having a hobby, when your passions and pleasures become preeminent, taking up your first priority spot, that's what we've been hitting on. You got it backwards, and walking backwards is a lot like stumbling blindly in the dark. When your passions and pleasures become preeminent, taking up your first priority spot. And see, that's again the emphasis of being careful and making sure you're mindful. I love fitness. I love working out. Anybody that knows me knows that, about 6 days a week, Shantae is going to be working out. But even with that, it's my passion, it's my pleasure. I have to be careful. There have been seasons in my life where working out had slipped into becoming becoming preeminent and taking up the first priority spot in my life. Working out had gotten to the point where I would get up early, set my clock early. Most of the time I would get up early in the morning and spend my one-on-one time with God. But there was a season one time where I would get up and I would get my workout done first. And working out had took the first spot, the first priority. Now, am I saying that everybody, you got to get up and you got to work out, you got to spend your time with God before you work out? No, because for everybody that's going to look different. Some seasons it look different for me. Like with the winter, with the seasons changing, I'll be doing my daddy-daughter time before my